we did it right this time.
Yeah.
Yay.
So far, so good, girls.
Yay. What's it? Third time's a charm?
Third
Fourth
time.
Yep.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Do we have mods today? I didn't even ask you, girls.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
There always is. They're just automatic in the chat.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay. See, I've never had to do this.
Trusted
Erin's
friends
not
and
going to be with
family.
us. Erin's not going to be with us today because she's got endless lambs being born. And
It's spring. Baby.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is. I don't think she said to me that she thought she was going to have 2 or 3 lambs this year. I think we're at like 33 or something. She has like an insane number of them.
Good.
Yeah. So, it is good. But I mean, it's a lot of work. So anyway, so she's right now, she's got a ewe giving birth. So she will not be on the stream. And she says, hi and sorry. And I dyed her hair pink for this stream. And it's bright pink. I mean, like, it looks fun. So too bad.
That sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so our lovely Erin isn't going to be with us today, but we do have a little surprise for midstream just to kind of lighten the mood.
Oh, good. Is it the video I sent you last week?
Maybe.
What was with that video?
Did you guys watch it? I missed it. I just wanted to share. Okay.
Anyhow, back on topic. So our title today was, of course, When the World, and I did it right this time, Lost Its Mind.
Good.
And today's stream is all about the grief, loss, and some of the punishment that people either put themselves through or that some of us went through personally. So we're going to start off with our awesome intro. I've got the right one this time.
Woo.
And we'll get started.
Sounds good.
And here we go. Another titillating voyage on the Vagina Starship, probing the depths of the feminine psyche. It is indeed another touching episode, not like the Doll in Court, of those dimension terrorists of the male ego, dodging the drug and steroid-fueled rage of weak men to bring you that vision of inspiration. Woo! I got a really good feeling about this one now.
Brian, that was so good.
Thank you, Brian. Hopefully,
Yes, I hope everybody enjoyed the vocal stylings of Brian Wilton.
I did. I thought it was great. He was so creative with it.
I know.
Yeah, no, that turned out really good. Okay, so sorry, I'm a little nervous about the topic today because looking back on everything, like it seems like a fever dream right now. Like it doesn't feel like it was real. And when I do start looking back at what happened, what went on, and what we were just subject to as normal, average, everyday people, it was insane. How it incrementally, like it was weird for the beginning, and then it incrementally got harsher and weirder and more dystopian and just crazy, and everybody just kind of went along with it. And so it put me into a very strange mood today. So this is what
I'm gonna be honest, I tried not to think about it because it stresses me out. And then and Erin's story is so sad that I was really nervous about her, but she can't make it. So that's at least
maybe that's a good thing. Because yeah, like setting up the stream, getting all the links together and everything, like watching everything, I'm just like,
oh fuck you. Yeah, I know. It was pretty insane though.
Yeah.
It was. Okay. I actually started a whole entire page or like Google account for my grandkids, and I uploaded all of the stuff from COVID for the past 4 years, anything related to it. Yeah, because you don't know. They're going to get books or whatever. They'll get information from other people, but I want them to have my first-hand account. And I say this like as if my kids are having kids. They're not. Nobody's had kids, but just think when they do, and they will, I want them to be able to see it from my perspective or what we experienced.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because I remember learning that in high school way back in the day. I had an excellent social studies teacher, and anytime he taught us anything about history, he highly encouraged us to look into archives and personal stories of what the people were saying themselves, not just reading the books and the textbooks and watching the movies, because he made it very clear that history is produced by the victors,
right,
and it's produced by the governments or the regimes, or
yes,
whatever. So
never.
It's always painted in a perspective of, look at how great we are. It's like the great Norm Macdonald once said, isn't it crazy that 100% of the good guys win?
Yes,
right.
Always,
so
every time.
Us making sure that our stories are shared and that we share other people's stories, and that it stays archived and is able to be spread for hundreds of, the 100 years to come, when people look back at our generation or at our lifetimes, that they can look back and go, okay, that was stupid.
I still don't understand how the politicians got away with it, and they're still in power, all of them. Your country, my country.
Because we allowed them to. Because we voted them in there, because we continued to let them do what they were doing.
I know, but you'd think that we would have, I don't know. I remember when we went to the convoy, that was one exciting thing. It was like, one of the demands was that Trudeau step down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
different world.
If you look into like the research of how to do population control and how to do mass formation psychosis and all that stuff, like how to indoctrinate an entire population, and everything was set up perfectly for our I guess world to be led down that path, because we were so we had our lives in our hands and our phones, and we had the connections to the internet, and the internets, of course, were so curated unless you knew where to go outside of it. And for normal people that just watch the news,
right,
they just watch the news every day. That's what normal people do. And the narrative that was being constantly pushed was
scripted and recycled, and just
where would CBC,
or I don't know,
you don't have CBC in the States, but you've heard of CBC here in Canada. They turned off the comments because all of a sudden it started to shift. It was like I remember getting anxiety, and like, because I'd see something stupid, I'm like, oh my fucking god, and then I'm like, do I battle these retards? And then of course I had to, so I would throw in a comment and just get attacked. And I mean, like, really personally attacked. I mean, death threats, whatever, everything, anything. And then when all of a sudden it was starting to get more, there was more people talking back and stuff. And like during Jason Kenney's little moments of updates or whatever, people were just starting to get rude. And then everything got shut down. No more comments.
Yep. Yeah, well, it's because the people were talking and other people might listen.
Well,
so
no, God forbid that.
Right.
Don't form your own opinion.
Yeah. No. Don't do your own research. Do you remember those articles? Don't do your own research?
Yes.
What?
The experts have done it for you. Relax, sit back, order your takeout, and we'll be
Listen to the experts. You don't have the ability to be able to read anything. You are just to be told. And so many people that not 5 years ago were researching seed oils and how bad canola oil is for you and how it causes inflammation. The same people who did all that, their own research when it came to their health, all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, no, don't do your own research because you can't, or we're not able to look into scientific, and I'm like, wait a minute. 5 years ago, you were doing that for your health, and you found that it helped you. Like,
weird.
What changed? So,
what changed?
So the first topic of the night here, our lovely friend has an article for us from Minnesota to share and talk about her area of the world, Miss Shawnee. I'm gonna throw that up for you.
Okay.
Well, I think. And I talk and I do it. There we go.
Okay, so this is just about overall, it's about mental health in Minnesota and how it either jumped up or declined in different areas. So, in mental illness, where that's associated with, we have like 28.3% of adults in Minnesota reported symptoms of anxiety or depressive disorders in 2023. I believe there was, I can't see that part.
There you go.
Sure.
Oh, did she freeze?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Really looking at these stats very intently.
So, let's see, maybe we can get her back. But as she was saying, the share of adults reporting symptoms of anxiety and or depressive disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's last year this time. So near 30% of adults suffering from depressive and anxiety disorders.
Well, you go from like 2 years of what the fuck's going to happen every day, something, right? And it's just heavy. Of course you're going to have that. Like that was like it was like psychological torture for a lot of people.
Well,
so many people committed suicide.
And like that, nobody was immune to it. Like, I don't care how
you are.
strong a person is. There was not a single person that wasn't affected. Oh, no. I think she's back here. Pop her back in. I can get my mouse over there. There we go. Hello.
Welcome back, Jordan.
Well, geez.
But yeah, just to finish my thought, like it doesn't matter how strong you were, and it doesn't matter how mentally fit and how much you fought to keep yourself. Not everyone was affected by this, whether they went full anxiety and depression, or they used substances to cope, or they just shut down emotionally and unplugged from everything, or if they just put their head down and just went to work every day and just avoided everything completely. Like everybody dealt with it.
Some people joined a cult.
They did.
There's a lot of weird things that happened to people.
Yeah, like there was a lot of desperation.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of extreme loneliness.
Oh, that was I did not like that.
Seen and heard.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people feeling seen and heard. So they were gravitating.
It was usually for a negative reason.
Well, yeah, because like, we're angry, because we're sad, because we're lonely, because we needed, to socialize. And
I just needed to be able to do what I wanted when I wanted, to be honest with you. It was more than even the socializing. Because even if they just said you can socialize, okay, fine, we'll let you socialize. That wasn't going to cut it. None of it. I just wanted to fuck right off with your fucking rules. All of them. I'll do what I want for me. I'm kind of like that anyways, which is not always the best. But that was too much. No. I'm not going to have people in the grocery store. I'm not having a 16-year-old kid at Dollarama yell at me to show him my papers because I say I'm mask exempt. No, wasn't doing any of that.
Yeah. So we got these here that you were talking about.
Okay, so the other point in this area that I thought was really interesting was that in 2021, 20.1% of adolescents 12 to 17 and 8.3% of all adults in the United States experience major depressive episodes. And then when you go further down and you look at the suicide, you see that 4% of 4.8% of adults and 12.7% of adolescents. Drug overdose?
Sorry, I'm just going down to the. Okay.
Oh, I was talking about the suicide because in 2020, suicide was the second leading cause of death among adolescents 12 to 17 years old across the United States. Think about that. Yep. They were shut off from everybody. They didn't get to see their friends at school. They had all kinds of rules and strange things happening. They couldn't talk to their therapists. They couldn't talk to their guidance counselors. And they obviously weren't talking to their parents because it went that far.
Well, and their parents were probably checking out a bit too, right? Because that was a lot for them to deal with.
Yep. Well, the news every single day was telling you that everybody was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you leave your house, you are literally killing people.
You're killing
if you
grandma.
go to the grocery store, you're going to kill your grandmother. Your mom and dad are going to die.
Yeah.
Like if you walk out the door and take a deep breath, you're going to die. Like that's what we were being told.
No ice skating, no fucking sledding. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's so psychotic. It's so psychotic. You know, child welfare in almost all places, they also stopped doing a lot of their investigations they normally would do. So there was a lot of kids that got murdered and seriously abused, and they were not, because they weren't usually, they're protected a bit by the school system. They weren't even showing up for school because it's closed. So these parents that were really screwed up, obviously, could do what they wanted, and it went too far many times. So many kids died because child welfare was not doing in-home visits because of COVID.
Yeah, because they were scared.
Well, and domestic abuse and assaults and things like that
increased somebody like that. Not during COVID.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah. We're all like, yep.
It was. No, but it was like, it's unforgivable to me. I feel like it's completely unforgivable what they did.
Yep. Well, I remember when everything was starting to come back and everything was going to open up and we were back to normal. And then they started releasing the, what are they called? The newspapers of it's time for amnesty. And
yes,
it's time for forgiveness.
No, I can't. I will never forgive.
No,
never.
I know so many people in my own life that have suffered from breakups and divorce and everything because the pressure was so much. Not only the like the financial pressure of some people losing their jobs, people losing their companies, people having to shut down businesses that they've been building for years. People losing their houses,
everything, yeah,
right, and husbands and wives arguing over like what we talk about, the the freedom of information, and one thinking it's complete bullshit, and the other one thinking that it's like it's 100% true, and we have to go get all of the injections all right now.
Right.
There was a lot of divorce and a lot of loss that way too.
Yeah, there was. It's too bad. The whole thing's so too bad. And after it was all done, there was like my brother, he ended up committing suicide. We weren't that close to begin with, but it was interesting because it was really sad, obviously. But I looked through I found him on Facebook, looked through his posts, and realized we're in some of the same groups, the anti-COVID groups or whatever. And I didn't even realize he was in there. And I read on his wall, he was like, kind of the last thing was somebody told him that he should die. And it was like just at the tail end of COVID. And I think his mental health was obviously struggling, but he went and committed suicide. I'm like, you can't get that back. And I know he's one of how many people did it.
Yeah. There's this comment here from Rumble, the oily film.
Yeah.
Oily film. Okay. My ex-partner projected her depression from COVID trauma onto me and finally physically attacked me.
Wow, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
Did you get to leave? I don't know if they can reply or not. I'm curious.
Yeah,
that's
no,
terrifying.
That was 3 years ago. So yeah, right during the height of everything. And
not good.
It's not good. So so we talked about suicide.
Yes.
Then, like as you were saying, the mental health shortage.
Drugs. What were the drugs like there in Jarna? I saw the thing.
I got totally distracted.
Oh,
drug overdose rates. Let's see. Minnesota increased from 9.4 per 100,000 people in 2011 to 24.5.
So like doubled, more than doubled.
Yeah. To 2021, right after and a majority of the overdoses were all opioid related. There were a lot of fentanyl overdoses. You can imagine.
It's so fucked.
Yeah. You have no idea. And opioid overdoses accounted for 75% of all deaths overdoses in 2021. So can you
Oh
you
my
have
God.
75% of all overdoses in the United States were due to opiates.
Wow, that's so sad.
And people were cut off from treatment. They had the liquor stores open and the fast food places open, but you weren't allowed to go see your therapist in person. You weren't allowed to go to AA meetings or NA meetings. And if you did have them, I got mine written up. From the place that I was living at previously.
Yeah.
I couldn't do my meeting at the school anymore because it was COVID. So I had a couple of meetings at my house. And after the second meeting, I got written up for having too many people in my home.
Right.
At the same time. And I'm I'd never been written up for anything before.
I would have blown my stack at that point. I would have absolutely lost my fucking mind.
Well, I tried to keep having the meetings, but eventually what happens, is there's nothing around. People start to not want to come back. So then, or they got worried because of the draw. Okay, I don't want to get anybody sick. I don't want anybody getting me sick. So I'm not going to come over there. Or, you know what I mean? And it was just very disheartening. After my meeting went down, I went down a pretty dark rabbit hole of, drinking and watching rage-fueled podcasts about how angry everybody was about all of these things.
Well, you can relate to it.
Well, yeah. Actually, I can also relate to what that Oily Film, whoever, is it Oily Film?
Yeah. Oily Film. We love your name, Oily Film.
Yeah. But I can relate to that because I did that. I got so drunk that the stresses of everything that were coming down on me, and I physically unloaded on my partner, and it was a very terrifying and scary time, and I quit drinking because of that. And I slowly started dialing back. I'm like, okay, well, I know what I'm supposed to do for my mental health. Right. So this is what I have to do. I have to stop with all the fear porn propaganda. I got to quit, pumping my brain full of all of this, what if, and all of these horrible things. Yeah, we know the world is a fucked up place. There's a lot of shit going on in the world that we can't change. The only thing that we can do is change ourselves, change our own behavior, and then hopefully it will start to affect the people around you to do the same. I know that's not a lot, and I know that it sounds so dumb, but it really is the truth. If you surround yourself with better people and give yourself better tools, actually utilize them, you can change dramatically. Anybody can. And it doesn't.
Thing I don't like about that is I had really good people around me. Really, really fucking great people around me before COVID. Really lifelong friends. Good ones. And then I could not see it the way they could see it. And then I was getting frustrated. I don't think our friendships will ever go back. I don't think we're still polite to each other, but I'm still to this day, I don't understand how you got vaccinated. And I know I'm supposed to be more grown up about it, but I don't understand it. And so I understand they were scared or whatever, and there was a lot of pressure, but then for me, it's just I don't know. Cause I'm you were one of those people, and it bothers me to this day. And I feel like I lost some really great people, and I don't think it's repairable because we do think too differently. They still think the way they think about COVID, and they're still quite okay with everything that happened. I think that sucks. I think I had better people, not you girls included, but I had better people around me, seriously, before this happened.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've grown up in such a soft, safe, warm society that we've never really struggled with anything that's been insurmountable like this before. Yes, everyone's had their struggles and everyone's dealt with stuff in their lives that have sucked, but it's not like what happened during the whole 2020 to 2024 now that's still going on. It changed people.
Yeah.
And it broke a lot of people's brains.
Yes, fully.
Like I know people that still like they're upset that we didn't lock down faster and harder.
See, and I could be polite to them in person, but like my sister, she took me to Thanksgiving dinner this year. She's like, I just need you to do me a favor. I always know when it's coming out. Like, what? Like, can you just not talk about COVID? I'm like, sure. She leaves me in the kitchen. She goes off to, I don't know, do something with these people's kids or something. I don't know. I'm in the kitchen minding my own fucking business. And these two little old ladies are in there. They're like so excited because they're getting their third jab this week. And I was sitting there and I was like, what the fuck kind of test is this? Right. So I just shut my mouth and I was like, oh yeah, me too. Like I just went along with it, but it was completely like, I don't even know I was there. I wasn't able to be me.
What is happening?
What's wrong?
Oh, my internet keeps going in and out.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, I didn't hear like that whole,
it's okay.
I heard something about somebody in the kitchen and then it cut out.
Just at a dinner, I was told not to talk about COVID, and we get there, so I didn't talk. My sister said, "Don't, please," because they're all normal. And
normal.
So then I said I wouldn't, and I didn't. And then she left me with these ladies, and these ladies said these old ladies were just so excited about their third jab they were getting that week, and talking about which pharmacy they're going to and whatever. And I had to sit there, and I felt like it was a test from God, and I was polite, but I mean, at that point, I completely felt disconnected. Couldn't be me. Mm-hmm. And I lied. I'm like, oh yeah, it's great. Like whatever. I don't even care. Like there was no point in having that discussion with them. They were obviously team COVID. So I don't know. I do think that part's hard.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now is there anything else that you wanted to cover more about this this article here? Because
no, not really. I totally got distracted with all the pauses of my internet and all that stuff. So I really did think it was fucked up though, like the statistics about kids. Like that's just heartbreaking to me because there was a girl that tried to commit suicide that my son's father ended up saving. She jumped off a bridge in cold rain, and then there was another one another 15 and then there was another 15-year-old child that had committed suicide, and that's like in the community, and it's just like, what is happening that these children are feeling so lost that this is
that hopeless? Yeah, that's horrific.
8-year-old kids, 14 at 14. What is, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, there wasn't any else. There wasn't any very much so there was no youth drop-ins or anything like that. Like our community, there was tons of youth activities because otherwise these little fuckers they were so bad. But I love them. But anyways, yeah, they weren't. And I noticed like we even got worried about their food, right? Because a lot of the kids would go to this like whatever. It was like kind of like a lunch program. It wasn't. But all of a sudden that got shut down. So where's this food that they needed? Clearly, because they went every day. Where is that coming from? You know, and then the food bank, they changed it. So you had to phone in and you had to basically plan 2 weeks in advance. Well, you can't just change all these systems for all these people who are in need and then just be like, hey, fuck, this is the way it is. And these kids are going to suffer.
You know what they did in the Minnesota government? We had, there's a whole, you remember that Feeding Your Future deal?
No, did you
ever hear about it? So it's Feeding Your Future. They figured out that these people embezzled like $280 million or
because
something.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
For real?
And yes, for real. In one family, right now there's like 70 people that are being charged with this in total. And the last 10 of them that were charged, it was something like it was a family of people, and they had like some $20 million of their own. Somebody bought a house or a vacation spot in like Turkey, and maybe
they'll probably get away with it. I bet you they will. I bet you
something like that. Oh
my God.
yeah. Oh, and get this. 75% of them were Somalian.
Shocking. I could not believe Minnesota is so Somali. I was watching on TikTok. I'm like, there's no fucking way this is Minnesota. I had to send Jared all these TikToks. Like, is this Minnesota?
This isn't the first kind of welfare scam. They had a thing with daycare back in 2012. They also had something with food again. They were getting like food and money and food support and money, and then like sending it back to Somalia. And it's just confusing to me, like how this happens continuously.
Because we bring them here and we underestimate them. We bring them here and underestimate them. And honestly, if there's a way to fuck the system, they will. It's anybody's like that. But I mean, they're good.
It's not even that. It's anybody who comes here looking for something for free. It's like they think it's owed to them. And it's like, no, people work their way to get what they need. It's called hard work. If you can't figure out what hard work is, then maybe you don't need to be here if you can't contribute. Well, if the only thing you're contributing to is the welfare pool in the jail, prisons, freaking keeping the money going in the court systems because you're in and out. You know what I mean? Like, why are you here?
Well, if a society provides the systems for stuff to be given to people for free, then people will always take advantage of those systems, and it doesn't matter where they come from. If there's a chink in the armor where there's a weak area where if you just walk in and here's free stuff for you, people are going to show up. It's like going to Costco. You always know where the free samples are, like the good free samples are, because that's where everyone's congregating at the end of the aisle.
Right.
That's my Costco free sample theory about society. Trademark.
Okay. Well, no, it is true. I mean, I don't know. I don't like what they've done with Minnesota or stuff. I don't know. I do empathize.
It is what it is at this point. I don't live down in the city, so it's not a big issue to me, but I see like things that are going on. I hear things from people. You obviously see the news. There's a new shooting like every night, dang near. Like, it's just
Northeast Calgary's like that too.
Yeah, Calgary's. We were talking earlier about Calgary, and it's like that now, where it's just get out of the cities. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what big city you're in. Just get out of the cities, because that's where it seems to be congregating. Just the despair and the social safety nets are being taken advantage of. And the violence is rising.
Mental health is fucking out of control.
Mental health is out of control. Like, just get that's my recommendation for anybody is get out of the cities.
What about unmet girls with COVID? What was your big loss, do you think? I'm just curious for you girls.
For me, relationships. Like, I thankfully didn't have anyone in my close family circle lose their life or end their own lives or anything like that. But it was family relationships that I lost, and lifelong friends that I lost, that completely took me by surprise.
I know that fucking
completely took me by surprise. And that kind of loss was hard to take. Like, thank God I have a strong partner, and I have an excellent partnership, and we figured out how to make everything work during lockdowns when we couldn't be apart from each other for work. So we developed systems for our relationship. But yeah, like family and friends that I, like you were saying, Rocky, that you had these amazing friendships and loved ones that all of a sudden one day just
because and it was beyond difference. Like, some people will be like, well, just get past it. I can't. Yeah. I can't.
Well, it was just over difference of opinion. That's all it really was.
It was definitely not.
That was the most shocking part of all of this is all it took was one person saying, "Hey, I don't agree with you." Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, you do you, but I don't agree, or I'm not going to get on the bandwagon and start cheering wholeheartedly for said thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what do you mean you're not going to cheer for that? And then being completely cast out just on a difference of opinion. Whereas
Right.
up to that point in our society, you were allowed to have different opinions. Not that you were allowed, but just people accepted that other people had different opinions, and that was okay. And
Well, it wasn't going to affect my life if you have a different opinion about whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like, is it when it starts to impact our personal lives? That's when we get a little bit pissed off.
well,
I think.
yes, but just like sitting around the coffee table, just having conversations, and one person going, "Well, I really hate this," and you're kind of like, I don't feel any either way about
Yeah.
said situation. And I'm like, I really don't care. And because the fact that I wasn't completely on board with the hatred, like,
Right.
then it was like, well, how could you not hate this? And I'm like, well, because hate gives you wrinkles.
Is that what does it?
What about you, Jarna?
You know, it had to probably be loss of self.
Yeah.
Honestly, I completely did an overhaul of my personality over, you know, a certain amount of time. And like, I can be an asshole. I can say shitty things.
You're not.
To
You
people.
are never rude to anybody online ever.
And I like to bully bullies.
Yeah, I like it when you do it too.
When people are mean, like I like to be mean back. And like stick up. Like in high school, I was always the kind of person who stuck up for the kid that nobody liked or hung out with, or they're making fun of like mentally handicapped kids, and I'm walking up to them, giving them a hug, asking them how they are during the day, because this asshole just, you know, you know what I mean? But
the prick.
But I could also be an asshole. My anger is not something, you do not want to be on the wrong side of my wrath.
I've seen it and I like it.
And I had to, because of all of those things, we were forced to keep our mouths shut. We were forced kind of like in a way to not have confrontation anymore. I was already dealing with my own things of like, should I really be saying stuff like this or should I not? Like, I don't know, maybe when Antifa doxed me, that, you know, my family's information and all of that stuff was all out on the internet, and I had to deal with the backlash of that, and I really couldn't even do anything about it because it was just it was just words. And it's like, I've changed. You guys picked things from, like, I'm not.
I'd love to go through their fucking closets of people who are doing shit like that. Let's go through your closets, you know, because it doesn't.
The thing is, a majority of them, it's like, well, I already know what kind of person you are because this is what you do.
Yeah.
You know, but then I also am very aware that I have the capability to be that kind of person as well.
Right.
You know, so it was like figuring out all of those pieces of my identity that I had built around all of this anger and shame and guilt, probably from drinking again, and you know, just those types of things. I had to completely reconstruct what that looked like to me, because I didn't know what it was supposed to be with all the negative shit I was feeding my brain. You know, it's like you become what you hate the most. So if you're sitting there and you're in a group and you're hating this, you end up hating.
Yep.
Just
or
like exactly anger. You become
the constant rage and constant anger and constant screaming puts you into a cycle of constant rage that you want to scream, and you're always full of anger.
The adrenaline,
like, it feels good to be angry. And
sometimes,
it feels good to rage.
There's healthy anger, right? Where you don't sit in it and you don't build an identity around anger.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. It's what you do with it. It's like, yes, this makes me really angry. It's like, okay, cool. We've talked about it now. We've got it out. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Where do we go from here? Do we move forward or do we stay stuck in the past?
No, we just sit here stamping our feet and screaming about it.
Banging our head on a wall.
Yeah, but for me, I think the worst part for me was watching Sophia. She went, do you know, like she is so in school compliant, so nice. Seriously, when I say she's so nice, I'm not just bragging, she just is. Very nice, does what she's told kind of thing. Easiest kid I've ever had out of my 3. The boys, they were totally like, nah, we're not falling for this. Okay, so, but they were defiant, but Sophia wasn't. And it was so fucking hard for her because she knew I was right. Like she did know, but she was a little worried I was a bit wrong too. And watching her struggle with her friends who were all completely brainwashed, all of them. And seeing her, get like, break out where the rash or where the mask had been at work and whatever. And then having her come home and telling me about some senior customers that used to come into her restaurant, regulars, and they didn't understand about vaccine passports. They didn't understand what the fuck was going on. And she had to like not let them in the restaurant. And then she watched one old man go outside and eat and cry. And like in the middle of winter. Okay. So when she would come home and tell me this, like it was traumatic for me. I'm like, what the fuck? Don't ever do that. Your job's not worth it. Like if I don't care. And she's like, we need the money. I'm like, if your job is compromising your morals, you need to just like say fuck it, which is easy for me to say, and I get why she didn't. But even down to she turned 18, and here that's the legal drinking age, right? She turned 18, the bars reopened that month, but you had to be vaccinated. And she was like, I just think I should just do it, Mom. Everybody else got it and nobody's dying and da da da. I'm like, don't you dare. I'm like, please, Jesus, just wait 2 years. If you wait 2 years and we see, fine. And I'm like, I know it sounds like a long time. And she'd cry, like she would cry from frustration. And then, so they had a party at her friend's house in this apartment. Holy fucking dangerous. I used to worry about her going to the bar, but at least the bar, there's bouncers, right? So they had a party at this girl's house. There was no balcony at this house. It was just like an apartment, whatever, windows. And they invited some guys from Snapchat that they thought they knew. One guy had a psychotic breakdown. He was schizophrenic. No, but for real. And it started like really intimidating people. And the girls, not prepared, no clue how to get rid of the situation or get out of the situation safely. She was telling me about this. And I'm like, this is fucked. So it's not safe. They can't go to the bar because she's not vaccinated, but also for her to be social for that age group, it was really unsafe. In my opinion, it was just like watching that stuff and watching her go through it. That was the worst part for me, more than losing the people, just watching it affect her and not being able to fix it. Like you just feel like, fuck.
Yeah, so I've got this one here. Sorry, I'm having like a total sneezing attack.
That's okay.
I'm not crying. I'm just sneezing.
Were your kids good, Jorn?
They struggled. My son, it put him back with reading and math because he needs the teacher to physically be there.
Ugh.
You know what I mean?
Headline, but it's so good. But I also do hate it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like you talk about with your kids and everything like that, like the suffering that they went through. This is what the news was telling us. So, like Rocky, you're talking about your kid and how much pressure she was under. This is what her friends were reading.
I know. Right?
So, and this needs to be archived for all time.
I think every single fucking journalist who wrote like that needs to have that's the thing though. This is where I'm stuck. Like I know that it's over. It's not over for me though. I feel like there still needs to be accountability. Fuck that. Every single person who wrote that article needs to never be allowed to be a journalist again. They got to lose it.
Yeah. Like this was, and I remember it being in circles with people, and the whole mandates thing was coming down, and people that would speak out about the mandates, about how, hey, like maybe we shouldn't be dividing society between, that's been done before in our history, and it never turns out good when you take a group of people and you villainize them. And so then it started wrapping up, and then now it was like, on the news and everything is like, well, if you're unvaccinated and you die, we don't care, kind of a thing. And it's like, that's another human being you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, what they don't like is every time someone dies now and we go, were they vaccinated? I noticed that they don't like that question. I don't care.
Like,
I'm going to keep asking.
Or
those were my questions in my head as I like from January one year until like I think June one year. I had been to like 7 different funerals, and I was sitting, and I never asked anybody.
No,
you know, but I sat there and thought, how many of them got the vaccine? Why were seemingly healthy 30-some-year-old men dropping dead of heart attacks and you know, strokes and stuff like that? And it's like, and it fucking sucked and it hurt because it was a lot of good people,
right?
And it's still happening.
It's still happening. Like I know people in my personal life right now that are suffering from insane medical conditions.
A lot of tumors. Jackie was telling me about
cancers,
like a lot of fucking tumors.
like just
extremely aggressive cancers,
weird
autoimmune diseases.
Yeah, and like I'm watching these people suffer, and they don't make that connection. And what infuriates me is, well, the fact that they're suffering, but also the other side laughing about it. It's like, oh, well, they took the jab, so they're idiots. They deserve it. Har har.
No, I don't feel like that either. I just
like, what do you mean? They're a fucking human being.
Like I've heard that coming from the other side. Yeah, when it's like somebody gets cancer, has a heart attack, or whatever happens, and it's directly, you can directly tie it back to you know, getting the shots, and they laugh about it. And I'm like, hold up a second. That's what happened with that Toronto Star article.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we're not going to do that. I don't want to go to the other side. No.
Yeah. You're being the same person. You're being the same person. So this whole thing, like we were talking about last stream, was the insane divide. But both sides are the same, just opposite. Do you know what I mean?
It's a mirror of each other. It's a mirror, and what they're doing is they're mirroring their expectations of how they think people should live their lives back at each other, and getting disappointed with it. Like,
well, you're gonna be, because it's a fucking, that will never happen. Nobody will ever all just do what we want.
Well, no, and
expectations, they say in treatment, expectations are just resentments waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Oh my
there's
God,
a lot of resentment.
That explains so much.
Okay. Well, I've got I did load up this video too, about James Jones and his wife. Yeah. So I've got this here, and it's just the opening statements to show what some people, or what this gentleman lost. Get that up here. Let me know if you can hear this. Okay.
James Jones.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, you're going to be giving some testimony today about personal effects. You're going to be, will you tell us the truth, the whole truth, except and nothing but the truth?
I do. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, I understand that you're here today because of the impact effectively on your family, and more particularly on your wife, of the mandates. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you give me a bit of a history about yourself and your family life as it was?
Yeah, I came to Victoria. I live on the island, so I live on Vancouver Island in Victoria. And I came there about 13 years ago or so. And I met my wife probably 7 years ago. And we started hanging out and kind of had, you know, we were friends at first and kind of got to know one another. And over the course of our relationship, it led to a marriage, right? So we were married probably about 4.5 years ago to now, kind of thing. And she was a BC Transit worker. She'd been so basically ever since I'd known her, and before, she worked for BC Transit in Victoria for about 13 years. So yeah, I met her as a transit worker through another transit worker who was a mutual friend. And then that's how we developed our relationship.
Okay. You're using the past tense when you refer to your wife?
Yes, sir. She passed away. So she was mandated to take the COVID shot. And we were looking at potentially having a child. I was 40 and she was 38. So it was kind of towards the later time of what we would really have to make that decision. it was something we talked about for a couple of years, and she was open to the kind of concept, but she was the holdout in it, right? I thought she'd make a beautiful mother, just like she was a beautiful wife to me.
Aww.
So she was mandated to take the shot, but she was concerned perhaps about, because there wasn't a lot of information about it concerning how it might affect a pregnancy or how it might affect, like to take it and then to get pregnant, this kind of thing soon after having taken it, or how it might affect the term of the pregnancy. And we knew another woman who was pregnant who took the shot, and she had a miscarriage relatively shortly after. And there was a gentleman who she worked with who also took it because they were mandated, right? And from what she told me, that gentleman had a serious heart issue having to do with, what they believe was related to the shot. Mm-hmm. So at that point, she was really against it. She was really hesitant to do so. And she felt that it wouldn't, that there wasn't enough information concerning it, right? Concerning like treating it like a one size fits all solution was something she wasn't supportive of. So she endeavored to try to achieve a form like informed consent through her workplace. Because they were the ones, from what I understand, BC Transit was not provincially mandated to enforce the vaccine mandates, that they like privately chose to engage in the mandates themselves, right, for their employees. And so through the course of it all, through trying to search for solutions and answers to all of this, I mean, my wife was a bus driver, and at the time I had left a job, and I actually took a night shift job so that I would be able to listen to various different scientists and people like who were experts who were discussing this, listen to both sides of the argument kind of thing as much as possible. Mm-hmm. The kind of pro-vaccine side, and the people who were also maybe had seen some of the early safety signals concerning it.
So just a quick point there. So he was doing what he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like he was looking at both sides, researching. He seems like a very intelligent man, doesn't seem like a crazy tinfoil hat wearing idiot.
No.
And then of course I remember hearing about the issues with it and pregnant women and women's fertility, but
yes,
that was shot down. And like Ellie said here about how the rare side effects.
Yes, they're not right,
rare.
Ellie.
And so, because I was trying to either put her at ease and try to find, like to think this might be something that would be safe to do, or to kind of like say, yeah, you're, like this is definitely something we shouldn't move ahead with. And so over the course of about 6 or 7 months from when they actually gave the mandate to the point in time when they put the workers off who would not take the shot, mm-hmm. It was basically our entire life. Like our entire life was trying to research this thing to try to understand whether it would be safe for her to take in her position. And also researching what sort of form of exemption a person could look to get concerning the COVID vaccine as well, right? Because that was the other thing she attempted to do through her work, was she attempted to apply for an exemption to the mandate itself, right?
Was she receiving support from her employer, the supervisors, the other workers, in terms of her desire not to have the shot and to investigate it?
No. So if I may just offer a little bit of information, I think that gives context to it. So my wife was the only person in Victoria, like on the island through BC Transit, who was, when new hires come in, there's a bunch of courses that a new BC Transit worker has to go through. And one of them is the anti-bullying and anti-harassment training. And my wife was actually the teacher of that course. So she was the only person certified through BC Transit because it's important that the transit workers, aren't bullying each other. There's not that kind of environment in the workplace, and that they're supportive of one another. But my wife actually received the opposite treatment. She was essentially bullied and coerced and intimidated, at least based on, she left a 40-page log of the experience she had. And in my opinion, upon reading all of that, which I was only available to me posthumously, I didn't know she was writing it. But the treatment she received was abhorrent. Like, as opposed to trying to understand her position or provide informed consent or a framework for that to exist, she was instead bullied and coerced from all angles, from colleagues she'd had for years and people within her union and this kind of thing, right? It's my opinion that upon reading this paperwork, that's essentially the experience she had.
That's so sad.
on November 31st, it was her last day of work. And
Oh, I got
11 days later, she took her own life.
no fucking way.
Yep. So I highly recommend to look this up. Like if you're, I'm going to take this off the screen because I can't stop. I highly recommend that anyone out there that hasn't heard of the National Citizens Inquiry to look it up and hear these people's stories. There are so many stories, and this is just James Jones' story. He had a beautiful wife. They had a happy life. She was an anti-bullying advocate. It goes further into her personality. She sounded like such a beautiful, caring woman that was in her late 30s. And as women, we know when you get a little bit older, it gets harder and harder to have a baby.
Right.
So she wanted to make sure she did everything within her power so that her and her husband could have children together.
It's so fucked.
And she was so bullied and so I can't even come up with the words, but she was just so distraught and so upset and so beaten down that when she left her job
in the world like that. That's so sad.
She took her life. And he seems like an incredibly loving and caring husband. Like, I'm sure he's not an angel because
everybody's got their shit. Yeah.
But he is now James Jones is his name, from Vancouver Island, Victoria. He is now advocating for his wife who took her own life.
Good for him. That's so hard. That's so
I've seen his story I don't know how many times, and every time he starts to break down, I'm like,
because it breaks your heart.
It absolutely breaks my heart. Absolutely breaks my heart.
God, that poor thing. That's so awful. And there's so many. But is it now the National Citizens Inquiry? Did they not change their name?
What's that?
I heard there was a switch. Do you know about that?
Maybe. I know, like, I follow them on Telegram. If you want to look them up, it's the NCI, National Citizens Inquiry, on Telegram. And that was the program. And they took, I think it was a year, where they went across Canada, and anybody who they wanted their story to be on record.
Right.
They held these hearings.
Jarna, did you guys have that out there?
Nope.
If we did, I didn't pay attention to it.
Well, it wasn't covered by any news. No reporters
they didn't want
were
it.
there. It was highly
volunteers. It's still being run. I know there's still volunteers, but I just know that there was a name change or something. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
Tinker L here says the name is not changed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the National Citizens Inquiry, it's a Canadian process that they went through. And it was all volunteers that came forward that wanted the stories on record.
So
and
good.
There are parents that came forward. There's siblings, friends, husbands, wives, people with their own personal stories, the vaccine injured, how they were treated. Like, I recommend taking it in short doses. Like, that was the first, 4 minutes of his testimony.
Yeah.
It's heart-wrenching, but what it is it's an excellent reminder to keep yourself stoic and listen to your gut when it comes to stuff like this.
Yes. Oh, it's so sad. But well, girls, it was very nice chatting with you girls.
Yes. Well, I do have a palate cleanser. I knew that this was going to be super heavy, and we're ending on a really heavy note, but I do have a palate cleanser I am so glad that everyone who's watching, and that you ladies and Aaron out there, birth lammies, I'm so glad that we made it through.
Me too.
And
Me too.
We're stronger for it. We're wiser for it, and we can be a voice of reason.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, so here's my little palate cleanser for us.
Driving. Just driving with the lammy on my lap. Taking this lammy to give to a sheep. Think I know what sheep I'm gonna give it to. Don't know whose mom it is or who had this lamb at all. That doesn't matter, does it? It just wants a mom.
Aw. She's so good with her babies, all of them.
Yeah, so that's where our friend Erin is tonight.
Perfect.
It's lammy season, so she's out lammying.
Yes.
I want to make it out there one day to go hug
I want a
lambs.
warm day, yeah, I think, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go out there on a cold day. That would be awful.
No,
I'm
hell
such a
no. Yeah, no, when it warms up a little bit, like this week's supposed to actually warm up a bit.
I want to
so
go see Jarna.
love to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go out to Minnesota.
It'd be so much fun.
You know, like I talked about a long time ago. Do you guys know where the Angle Inlet is
No.
in
Is that
Canada?
yeah,
So
that's the
it's a
place where we can go.
border.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically straight up from our little point at the top of Minnesota.
Mhm.
All right, we'll
And
meet
it's
there.
Lake of the Woods. I think it probably takes a couple hours, but we're good to visit as long as we're in the boat and you guys don't get off on the American side and I don't get off on the Canadian side. Then it's okay.
Perfect.
That sounds like a thing to do. All right. Well, I wanted to share that little
love
little palate cleanser there.
No, that was good.
So gonna
And then
let-
Erin got to be part of the stream too.
and our lovely Erin and her little lammy gets to be part of the stream as well because we love her and
Yes.
we wish her all the best with her lambs.
Yes.
So next week,
Thank you. Mhm.
next week
Finale of this
is
one.
the finale of our 3-part series of When the World Lost Its Mind. We're coming in hot with a lot of really good stories, more heartwarming stories, how we have been able to come out of this and be better, stronger people than we went into it as.
Sounds good. All right, you
All
guys.
right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we love our audience.
Yes.
Love you guys. Love
Have a
everyone
good
out
night.
there. Love
See
the
you
lammies. Love the kitties.
Tuesday.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
All right. And I've got a closer here to play
Okay.
us out. Okay. And
Bye-bye.
everybody, see you next
Oh yeah,
Tuesday.
see you next
Oh,
Tuesday.
yeah.
But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning. To them, fear is a tool. They think I'm hiding in the shadows. But I am the shadows.